Hi there, can you guys hear me? Okay, fantastic. Okay, great to see you guys. I really apologize for the delay. Things are a little bit fluid here. We flew in um, just a few hours ago, so things are pretty fresh and we're just getting set up. There was an important venture capital meeting which we needed to attend, and it went quite a bit later than we expected. So unfortunately, we decided that we needed to stay at that meeting because it was going quite well. So yeah, so it's been excellent so far here. I don't have too much to show you right now for scenery, as it is now dark in Lisbon as of a couple hours ago. But we'll probably, I think, I can talk with our team here, and maybe we can do another live stream tomorrow in the next couple days if people are interested, if we can sort of capture some of the things going on here. Anyway, it's great to see you all, and if any of you are planning on coming the next few days, definitely let us know. I've met a huge number of people already just in the last 3 or 4 hours. Everybody's looking really to invest in the space and grow, and we've talked to investors, developers, venture capitalists, and other entrepreneurs in the space. So we've looked at collaborating in terms of listing other people's tokens, in terms of being listed on other people's exchanges, doing game development. Yeah, we've had a lot of really good conversations. So yeah, and I do apologize. This is definitely delayed a few things we're working on, but I think it's very, very important to be at this conference, and we're pretty happy to be here right now. I'm here with one other Safecoin community member, Richard, who no doubt will watch this video at some point. He's not with me right now, but he's from Calgary as well, and he's been with Safecoin since the start. So the two of us are meeting everybody and passing on exposure to Safecoin. So anyway, that's where we're at right now. It seems to be around, I think we're thinking there's maybe 2,000, 3,000 people at this conference, but I feel there's more. I think I was told it's 2,000, 3,000. I think we'll find out it's a lot more. Even on the plane ride from Canada, because Canada doesn't have a huge number of people in crypto, but even on the plane ride, there was 10% of the plane was people going to this conference. So yeah, pretty great turnout, and really, really great people. One thing I really liked is almost immediately started meeting developers. Just there's a lot of developers here, and a lot of people who are very dedicated to the space, and there's a very positive feeling everywhere that anything can happen, and yeah, it's great. So in terms of Safecoin, we're a little bit delayed again, just because we have literally just traveled across the world, so that did cost us a few days as well. But we are looking to do a number of things very shortly here. We're expecting SafeTrade to launch USDC pairs very shortly. More importantly now, when SafeTrade launches the USDC pairs, it's going to have the ability to launch Solana tokens, Safecoin tokens, or to list Solana tokens and Safecoin tokens. And that's becoming really important at this conference, because we're meeting a lot of people who would like their tokens listed on a CMC exchange. So we've already had a number of conversations in regards to that. I'm just reading, and feel free to just chat. Sorry, I don't even know how to turn on multi-chat, but feel free to just chat in the chat, and I'll respond to your comments. We don't have a typical agenda in this meeting, just because there's just too much happening at once. I'll definitely go over all of our kind of where Safecoin's at right now and what our objectives are for the next week. So Martin says, I heard Celsius had a 500-man rooftop party yesterday in Lisbon. So probably more than 3,000 people at the conference. Yeah. Somebody told me 2,000 to 3,000, but I think it's higher than that. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did. The event we went to today was a venture capitalist event. So we went to an event by Foundation Capital, and it was just full of really smart people who know what they're doing, and we were very impressed, and they were really excited to talk to us as well. So we're quite happy about that. We want to do more of this, as our project grows. We really want to let people know about what we can offer and why they should get involved. Kevin's saying, I'd love to see more Solana tokens added to SafeTrade. Helps us all find out about who brings many Solana enthusiasts to Safecoin too. Yeah, we're going to be doing some token launches for sure on SafeTrade, and keep in mind SafeSwap as well. SafeTrade is going to be the first one to do it, just because that's the first one where we've done the integration, and of course it is a CMC exchange, so that is kind of a big deal. A lot of these projects do want to be on CMC, and so we'll definitely be looking into that when we find projects we like at this conference. It's going to be suggested to SafeTrade. So that's kind of where things are at there. We're we keep meaning to launch the SafeTrade USDC tokens, and stuff keeps coming up. But yeah, so now it's going to be launched, and that'll probably be followed by other SBL token launches based off of experiences we have at this conference. Also, we are expecting Ledger Live any day now. As of Friday, the ledgers arrived in the logistics center that we have an arrangement with. So we have an arrangement with a logistics center in Germany, which will allow for drop shipping throughout Europe. And eventually they can also offer North America and Asia. So the ledgers have arrived, and we are essentially just waiting right now for the ledgers to be added to Ledger Live, which should be any day, and then we'll announce that. I'm still trying to sneak those ledgers into this conference so I can give them out at the conference. Kevin, you remember we had those lanyards and pens from last time. We had a ton left over from the last conference we attended, so I've got those all at this conference. And if we can get the ledgers here, we will, but chances are we won't be able to get the ledgers here quite in time. It's going to be off by like 2 days, which is okay. Frederico says, I'm in Lisbon, but I know nothing about blockchains, but I'm all ears from Solana news. Well, yeah, Frederico, definitely hit me up if you want to come by, and a lot of these events you don't have to have a ticket for. You can just come in. So you definitely shoot me a message on Discord or Telegram, and we can try and get you set up. It'd be great to meet you. Yeah, Kevin, there was a ton of stuff left out of the last one. So that's all going to get used in this one. We'll make sure to give out all the lanyards and pens, and if we're really lucky, we'll be able to give out the ledgers as well. If not, then they'll end up on our online store later this week, and we'll have an announcement about that. The first announcement will be as soon as it goes on Ledger Live. Ledger's committed to us, so this is already kind of a done deal, so I'm okay talking about it. We do expect the announcement to come any day, even though we've been saying that for a couple of weeks. They're a large organization, so we'll see it on Ledger Live, and then we'll announce that, and then we can do some tutorials and help people get all their coins onto Ledger, because we'd really like to get some of these keys offline. So that's that. And the other thing we're going to see this week is we're probably going to be doing a new release on Safecoin. The new release is going to have a number of really important key features for us. You can call it a stability if you want. We're going to have like a 1.6.27 release, which will have, for one, it'll have our circulating, our emissions are going to be finalized in this next release. So these are the emissions which will show a max supply of 36 million. The other thing is we will have Big Head's new consensus in this next release, and then we're going to activate that. And in addition, we're going to, in this new release, we are making our release more developer friendly. We actually want Safecoin to be even easier for developers to use than Solana. So we've been talking a lot about that, with our developers, about how we can make Safecoin really easy to develop on, even more friendly than developing on Solana, which is very developer friendly. And so that's going to be coming out in our 1.6.27 release, more developer tools. And it's a question which gets asked. I was asked that question several times today by developers asking, well, how can they develop on Safecoin? What's the difference between developing on Safecoin versus Solana? So it's a big deal. Developers want to know how they can develop on Safecoin and whether their skills can transfer. So that's something that is actually coming out in our release. I'm gonna try. I can't promise. I'm gonna try to put that release out while I'm at the conference, just late at night or something when I have a couple hours to myself. I'll put that release out. It's a very harmless release, very low risk of any issues. So we have no problems doing that. And then that'll be followed by a number of other things, including bridging Safecoin into Solana. Gary's on here. Gary says, what is your exact relationship with Solana? Well, and Max has a good question. So Gary, so it's interesting. So we are not. So Solana is a company, right? Solana is an IEO, and they are literally a company. And we're not. We're a decentralized blockchain. So we have no official leader. We're not organized in any official capacity. We don't have official partnerships. So that's something I do explain a little bit at the conference. But SafeTrade can have relationships with Solana. So SafeTrade can have partnerships with Solana. SafeSwap will be able to have partnerships with Solana, and some other entities that we're going to be putting out, which we are discussing. We are actually discussing at this conference some stuff that's not yet on our roadmap, but future projects that we're putting out are getting discussed, and those will also be able to have partnerships with Solana. So the ability to partner with Solana is there, just not directly with Safecoin. So Safecoin is too decentralized for that. And so I've spent a lot of time talking with people at the conference already about that difference, is that we are completely decentralized at the blockchain level. And other than that, yeah. So in terms of, have I personally spoken with people at Solana? Yeah, I've spoken with the founder even before this conference. And we're working to continue to build relationships with Solana. We want to see, we want this to be a collaborative fork where we also help Solana and we work with their ecosystem. So we want to be part of the Solana ecosystem for sure. And we want to differentiate ourselves. And in many ways, we think we found ways that we can be better. For instance, our energy efficiency. But we are definitely looking to make friends here. We're looking to make friends, not enemies. And Max says, just curious, anyone sharing approval or disdain towards Safecoin being a different consensus? So far, it seems to be pretty positive, Max. I think most of the people we've talked to are pretty excited about the consensus. They like it. And so it's one of those things where when you talk with most people, they're like, wow, that's great. And they're interested. Definitely people, I've spoken to a lot of people over the last 3 hours. Definitely people who are heavily invested in Solana and only Solana are maybe just a little bit on edge when I talk to them about it, because they're like, is this competition? But I mean, like, they don't really need to worry about competition at this point. Like, they're the number 3 blockchain in the world pretty much now. I don't know if they are yet, but you get the idea. Yeah, so a true, there's a lot of people at this conference who are just open to all new things, and I spent a lot of time talking to that. And there's some people, I guess, for lack of better words, we would call them Solana maximalists. And so they're nobody was angry or anything. But I mean, they're just kind of hesitant, a little bit, if you're strictly invested in Solana. But really, I think there's niches for us. There's niches for Solana. There's plenty of rooms for both to grow. So, and that's how I've explained it. And people seem to be quite open to that. Even the Solana maximalists, as I'm calling them, are interested in our exchanges. They're interested in some of our exchange ideas. And so they see opportunities for working with us in other areas where we can be part of the ecosystem. Correct. Crypto quadratic cooperation is greater than competition. Oscar is saying, when can we send tips through SafeChat? There's a good question. I think what you're asking is, when is SafeChat going to be implemented on the blockchain? Pretty darn soon. We got a long list of things to do, but that is on our roadmap. We were going to implement SafeChat last year on our old chain, but then we realized we were going to change, and so we put that to the back of the roadmap. It is still on our roadmap, so SafeChat will get integrated, and you can check our roadmap on the. We have it scheduled for sometime next year to integrate SafeChat into the blockchain. If we can do it sooner, we will. Without a doubt, Solana technology is much more suitable for things like SafeChat. Just, everything happens faster, especially if you want to integrate actual text chat as well. Charles Eubank says 3 words: pastel de nada. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to have to look that up, Charles. I'm very curious what that means now. And yes, actually, Charles, you mentioned Las Vegas. Our last conference that we went to was in Las Vegas. And we would definitely like to do one of those again. So hopefully we can see you in Las Vegas soon. Gary, when Binance? Oh, Gary. So yeah, we would be willing to list on Binance or Coinbase, but it's not something that we're after on this particular conference. And Gary, actually, with the way our project is structured, there's a lot of value in us, because we actually have a lot of exchange products, and we're going to have more exchange products in the coming months. So there is a lot of focus actually in promoting our own chains and actually trying to take some market share away from the big players like Binance and Coinbase. There's a lot that Binance Coinbase offers that we would like to offer ourselves. So, but anyway, yes, if Binance offers to list Safecoin, I'm personally not going to stop them. Max, thanks for sharing the vibe towards Safecoin. Just need a few cooperation win more fall. Absolutely, Max. Yeah, you're completely right. People are extremely open to Safecoin. They really are. if there's one thing that really stands out is that every single person I talk to, nobody's heard of us. So we're still at like, I think we're maybe like 0.01% of the Solana community knows about us. So it's exciting just to even share the message. And we're trying to build as many contacts as we can, and definitely trying to establish good relationships with everybody. And it seems it's going well. Charles Eubanks, egg tarts. I know what those are. Hey, Era. Hey, Kevin. Chris just posted our roadmap. You can check that out there with regards to Safe Chat. Yeah, it is absolutely all about that. Like, we just need exposure. Really, like, we do need a lot of others. Don't get me wrong. And so actually, I'll just cut to an actual agenda item too. Just so you guys know, I think we can announce this at least in our meeting. We did officially hire we haven't announced it yet. I don't know how you'd really announce this, but we did hire our first senior Rust developer this weekend. So we finalized it 2 hours before my flight, and we hired a senior Rust developer. Now, I really think the way a project like ours succeeds is really a hybrid model. As we get larger, we will hire people. We have to compete. Like, we will hire people, but we still rely very heavily on the community. So people like Fal and Max and Big Head and others in here who have donated developer time. I really, really appreciate that. And that is really, really key for us to succeed. So we still it's really, really important for us to have the community involvement. But we are supplementing that as of yesterday with some full-time developer help as well. And it's reality. I mean, I'm getting busier. Our ecosystem's growing, and I'm getting pulled into more things. And now I'm going to conferences. So to have more developer resources allows us to really move forward and succeed in this space. So anyway, we're very excited to have our first full-time developer. I should add that technically, so SafeTrade has hired this developer. So the developer is hired by SafeTrade. Now, but at this point, they are working mostly on Safecoin and on the bridge side. So they're working on bridging, which SafeTrade will utilize. So it is a SafeTrade purpose, but it is actually Safecoin development. And yeah, and just to clarify that, because the Safecoin project can't directly hire people, but we have entities in our ecosystem that can. Ed Thorpe, how will the hired people be paid, and do we have budget for that? Safecoin, and sorry, I kind of just answered that. Sorry, but yeah, and good for you for asking the question. I kind of clarified it just before you asked it, but it is actually SafeTrade that hired them, and SafeTrade does have some revenue, so SafeTrade did hire them. Now, we are looking at other things as well at this conference, like a lot of people. Well, there's a lot. It's almost 50-50 at this conference. There's half the people are looking for funding, and the other half are looking to invest. I feel it's pretty even split. So we've talked to a lot of people who want to invest, and we've talked to a lot of people who are looking for funding, and I'm expecting it'll keep going like that. So definitely, we are also looking for funding at the conference for other things we want to start up in our ecosystem, which would also require developers. So. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but kind of what we do is we have an ecosystem. We create entities within that ecosystem that have utility, and those entities can hire developers. So that's kind of how that works. And yeah, we are looking for funding for some of our future launches on that. And that funding would go towards development on the Safecoin blockchain. Yeah, so we don't want to stop at one developer. We're just very happy to have our first one, and that's probably all we can afford right now. But we're definitely looking to expand from there. Yes, and that's SafeTrade generates revenue through fees, but also other services it provides. So not all of that gets announced, but SafeTrade does provide services to other entities. There will be an announcement coming up on some of the partnerships that SafeTrade has. You'll see that later this week. But SafeTrade is its own corporation. So SafeTrade doesn't always announce all the things it's doing. But I think it'll be, to answer your question as to where SafeTrade would have that money, that'll be more clear, I think, later this week. We'll be seeing some announcements, not from us, but from other companies in the space that will kind of clarify where SafeTrade would have that money. Chris has given me a good question. What do you see as your primary goal at Breakpoint? And I think we have a lot of goals, but I think the primary one is exposure. I think because honestly, we've already built something very, very great here, but only a very, very small percentage of the Solana community knows about Safecoin. Almost nobody in Solana community knows about Safecoin. So we're looking to change that at this conference. We are trying to get exposure and let a large number of people know about the project. And we had a lot of success at that just tonight, and tomorrow we're going to be doing it all day long. So we hope to make a lot of progress at it tomorrow. That's our top goal, is simply exposure, because literally it sounds so simple, but we already have a really great product. It's easy to sell. It's very easy to sell. When I tell people what it is, they get excited. They just don't know about it. So that is for us, because we've already built this and we already have the community around it and everything else. It's literally just letting people know. We do have a number of other additional goals. We are, interested in funding. We're on both sides of it too, right? We're looking at funding, but we're also looking for good developers. So we are talking to all the developers, seeing what their interests are, see if there's any good fits. And we're also looking to kind of expand into the Solana ecosystem. So we are looking at, projects that would be good for us to list, projects that we want to be listed on. As an example, projects that we want to share work on. So all of these things we are actively exploring right now at the conference. Thank you, David. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it. You mentioned David's just saying David and Gary are very active on Twitter for Safecoin. And, I really appreciate that. The marketing and the exposure is so important. I don't know if we're going to get on Binance as fast as you want, but I think we have unlimited possibilities here. We really at this point in crypto and how we've positioned ourselves, anything's possible, and we're exploring it. We're exploring everything. So, we really, really appreciate you getting on Twitter. Everybody, who gets on Twitter or gets on other platforms and spreads the word about Safecoin, it makes such a difference for people to know about it. And, I think our marketing is probably, it's not as big as other projects, but it's organic, and it's all community based, and that has a lot of meaning. I think people really, really respect that. Gary, how to invest with you, but buying coins, how much you need for the next year to develop the project. Again, so it's tricky because we do have an ecosystem, right? So I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with investing in Safecoin through buying coins. But yeah, there are other things we're going to launch within the ecosystem, well, Gary, I'll be honest with you. So we don't have like a set minimum, and that's really important because we've made it through crypto winter as an example. Many times, Safecoins made it through with no budget at all, or even members of our team or myself supplementing Safecoin with our incomes to keep it running. Safecoin's been through all of that over the last 4 or 5 years. So there's been times where we just had no budget and we just made do and we kept going. So we don't have a minimum budget, and I don't want to ever have a minimum budget. But having said that, we are definitely looking to grow. I think it's very, very important to grow right now. So we'll be conservative about it, but we are definitely looking to find ways to increase our developer resources, increase our marketing, and get our brand out. So I don't know if I fully answered your question. We don't have a minimum budget, but we do have. But in terms of other ways you can invest in Safecoin, we will definitely. I mean, there's not the best way to invest in Safecoin is to buy Safecoin, but our ecosystem is going to expand. And if you want to see an example of that, just look at Solana. There's Solana, and then there's a whole bunch of other projects that are built on top of it. That's really what we're trying to design right now. But from a fair launch perspective, we're trying to create that as well. So yes, there's going to be lots of other launches on top of Safecoin, and I can say that with confidence because we already have a number of them planned, and they're fairly well they're fairly well along right now at this point. So I see them happening. Yeah, and so the name got brought up, the safe name. At the conference anyway, it's a non-issue. Like when people see us in person, it's very easy to explain that we're not SafeMoon. Sometimes it's harder to do that online. Definitely in person, it's not an issue. We can very clearly explain that we're not SafeMoon when we discuss this. Okay, I think I've got. So feel free to keep talking there. I'm reading the chat. Anyway, so I mentioned, we should have some announcements for another company on SafeTrade this week. Ledger announcement any day. It's been like that for several weeks now, but Ledger is really, really close. So we should have a Ledger announcement very soon, and then hopefully we can get some instructions out and people can start getting their keys onto their ledgers. That's really important, especially for the things that we stand for, to be able to have hardware wallet storage. And we'll have token listing capabilities on SafeTrade in the next couple days as well, probably at the conference. So I'm not even listing everything. There's more stuff we're going to do. A lot of the other stuff we're going to do in the next couple weeks is going to involve the bridge. And the bridge is sort of a fundamental piece we want to have in place for SafeSwap as well. So there is a lot of bridge work going on. And when I mention the bridge, there's more than one bridge. There's a bridge for Safecoin, which is a long-term project. And that's something we've got a developer working on. There's also the Solana bridge, and we're going to be doing some implementations on the Solana bridge as well. And so that comes from our ERC20 token down. So Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting week. We're quite excited so far. Do you guys have other questions or one? Just feel free to interrupt. One thing I do want to talk about actually is potentially having a few more of these live streams over the next 2 or 3 days. It is a little bit hard for me to know exactly where we'll be at any one moment. It's a very fluid situation in Lisbon, and plans change frequently. But I'd like to try to at least schedule one more meeting, kind of like an AMA. If there's a time that works for people, I'd love to set something up where we can have an AMA and maybe live stream an event or something like that. The one we were at today was not really appropriate for live streaming. It was a venture capitalist event, and that's not really their thing. They don't really want to be live streamed. Other events, it's more suitable, I think. Yes, the bridging is huge. Yeah, frankincense. We can definitely do some photos. I'll see if we can get some photos going here. And thank you for reminding me. Um, we'll put some photos in as we go. Again, the event we were at today was not super appropriate for photos, but other events will, because we were talking with some people that, you know, you want to ask them permission before you take photos with them. But definitely, I think some other events, I think, would be pretty appropriate, and we should be able to do some photos. Gary, my background, so I did a lot of things. One of the things in my background is project management. So I've been a project manager for a lot of IT projects, and that's, I won't get into my, I can't get fully into my background right now, but that's, so yeah, you can think of me as having been a project manager for many different IT projects, and definitely, I have some development background as well. But as we grow, I actually feel more suited to this role because I'm familiar, like I'm familiar more with entities this size. This is kind of a size of entity that I'm more familiar with working, and that's what I've done in my past careers. Ed Thorpe is asking, oh, sorry. So there's somebody in here by the names JG. Are there any other projects that want to build on Safecoin that you know of? Yes, there are a number of projects we know that want to build on Safecoin. We talked with a few of them today, actually, that are now interested. One interesting one was a gaming project that we want to follow up with on. They're considering building some gaming software on top of Safecoin. So that's we'll talk with them more about that. But there's a number of projects that want to build on top of Safecoin right now, and most of them really what they want to do is they want to expand from Solana. So typically it's projects that are on Solana and want to expand further. And for various reasons, they see a fit and they want to expand and then build on top of Safecoin as well, because you might as well. It's a similar protocol, so you can be on both chains. So we are seeing that's kind of one of the areas where we do see projects being interested. And of course, it's very preliminary at this stage, but I think that'll change very quickly. Ed Thorpe, do we have an idea of the number of safe lost during transition between previous Safecoin version to a new one? Yeah, I don't have the exact number right off the top of my head, but I know that it is very roughly 3.1 million, give or take 50,000. It's around 3.1 million that was lost during the swap, which is unfortunate. In some ways, it's good that it was only 10%. We thought it might be higher than 10%, but yeah. So around it's around 10% or 3.1 million that was lost and burned. Ed Thorpe, end question on my side. Do you know why Solana fees are too small for them? I might need elaboration on that. Solana fees are very small. Sorry, yeah, you might need clarification on that question. Sorry. Yeah. And keep in mind, yeah, thanks, Kevin. Yeah, we were pretty excited to talk about gaming platforms. I mean, Solana is, as you guys know, very suitable for gaming platforms. And so it was nice to actually talk to some of the developers that make these games and let them know that there's, an alternative they can build on. And some of them saw some advantages. So, but I mean, do keep in mind, everything I'm saying now is just literally speculative. I mean, we these are just people we've just met, so no deals have been struck, but we're making a lot of progress in terms of exposure and networking. So maybe if you guys can let me know kind of in Discord when might be a good time for us to do another live stream. I'd like to actually do live streams of events as they unfold. And yes, there's events happening all over Lisbon. So there's tons of venues holding Solana events right now. And we're going to be extremely busy between them all. We are very tired right now because we just flew in. So we are going to sleep tonight and kind of go from there. And again, I'd show you more of this for a background, but it's nighttime here, so there's not much else to see until tomorrow morning. What time is it here? It is 8 p.m. 8 p.m. here. So it went dark a couple hours ago. Chris is asking, what can the community do to help right now? And thank you for asking, Chris. I really appreciate it. So there's a lot we could really ask for help with the community on. I mean, definitely the marketing helps. If you guys can share Twitters and spread news, that's really appreciated. Just even and helping us coordinate stuff too. For instance, if you guys could figure out, if you're available for another live stream, we'll do another live stream, but it would be nice to actually have some people share it, on CoinMarket Calendar and other platforms, maybe even the Solana community, just so that maybe we can do a live stream and just have, there's a huge number of people in this chat right now, but I'd love to, do a live stream for, 200, 300 people that want to see part of the conference. So if there's things we can do to make that happen, where the community can help either kind of express interest or help coordinate, that would be great, because we'd love to actually do some live streams of the conference. That'd be interesting to lots of people. in other things the community can do is, if you're in Safers, we actually have a spreadsheet with a list of tasks. It needs updating. One thing we could use help with, if anybody's up for it, is updating that spreadsheet and cleaning it up a little bit, and then seeing if we can, put a sort of a list of tasks in there, and provide some bounty to people who complete the tasks, as an example. That would be very helpful. There's so much, there's so many things we need help with. It's hard to talk about them all at one time in here, but that's one thing. Definitely, if somebody's interested in launching an NFT platform, we'd be very interested to work with you on that, because we can only do so much at once, and I think our next big focus is going to be DEXs, like launching SafeSwap. So the NFT platform, if people want to take that on, by all means, we'd be happy to support somebody who wants to launch an NFT platform. Ed Thorpe, what other coins do you hold? I mean, I personally just hold Safecoin. To be completely honest with you, I'm not going to lie. Anytime I do obtain any other coin, I usually trade it for Safecoin. Yeah, I'm a Safecoin maximalist. Excellent. Well, you don't have to be, but yeah, it's Safecoin's got a pretty bright future ahead of it. I feel so. I'm fully invested in terms of my time and everything else in Safecoin. There are a lot of other things the community can do. We need help on everything. If there's people, it really just depends on your skill sets. So if you're good with design, definitely let us know. There's things we need with the design. We're hoping to get a white paper out pretty quick. You can message us and review our white paper in draft version before we release it. The white paper, by the way, our white paper is likely going to come out in the next couple of days as well, because people at this conference will want to read it. So I expect an update on the white paper very quick. And definitely, if you get a chance to review the white paper ahead of time, it would be appreciated. If you don't have access to it, just message us and we'll get you access. I'd say that's an urgent item in terms of the community helping, because we want a strong white paper, and we need it. We kind of need the white paper now as well, given that we're literally at the conference. Anybody who has technical skills, there's tons of stuff we can do in bounty for technical skills, and a lot of the people in this community are already helping a lot. Lately, Air is doing fantastic work lately, updating our staking tool and also doing work for Safe Trade. So, it's very much appreciated. Social media platforms, we need community management on almost every social media platform. So if you look, there's a lot of blockchains out there right now that have 5% of what we do, and they send out like 10 tweets a day. So I mean, definitely, if people want to help us with our Twitter, help us with our other social media accounts, as long as you've had, we prefer somebody with experience who knows what you can and can't do, because there are rules around it, but we'd love help with that. Thanks, Marta. Thanks for attending. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Maybe I should cut this meeting off short as well, because I suspect that other people were hoping to be done by now. Yes, yeah, and Ed Thorpe says a big shout out to Era, Chris, Kevin, Frankincense, and others. And I know also, there's lots of others I can mention here in there. Big Head, Foul. Yeah, yeah, maybe I'll close this out by thanking everybody in our community for all your help. I really appreciate it. And everything you guys do is making just a massive difference right now. So we're very excited and we're very happy to have all of the help you guys are providing. And yeah, maybe I'll just. Does anybody else have any urgent questions at this time? If not, I think maybe in Discord we can discuss scheduling another meeting. It can be in any format you want. I'm open to doing what I'm doing now, or doing an AMA, or having Kevin host one or something like that. But I'm happy to stream what's happening here, do 1 or 2 more streams during the daytime, so you guys can actually see the events. And Martin, thank you, Martin. Martin's done a ton of work for us. Okay, guys. Well, in that case, if there's no more questions, I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of your night. And I do apologize for being late today. We did just fly in, and hopefully we can schedule another meeting and be on time for it. When are we going to Dubai? I don't know, but I'd love to see Dubai. I'd love to go there, and I know they have really good blockchain conferences. So it's something we've looked at for sure. Oh yeah, and if anybody here isn't part of our Discord channel, definitely join our Discord channel. That is probably where we have the most concentrated. Should I put a link in there? That's where we have our most concentrated social interactions for Safecoin. And I'll just put that in right now. Oh, perfect. Chris has got it. Okay, guys, thank you very much for your time. Have yourselves a great night. And let's chat in Discord and get another live stream going during the day. See you guys.